up, guys? Hey, Mower Medic 1 here, and welcome back to the Mower Medic 1 shop. And today is going to be a good little video about electrical system diagnostics. I've got a tool that you gotta have. Really haven't had a chance to really get down to the meat and potatoes of this tool, but at the end of this video, you're gonna want one of these, just like I wanted one so bad. Alrighty, guys, the symptoms that I'm having with this machine is that it's blowing the fuse when you turn the key. Now, I just put a fresh fuse, and as you can tell, it is automatically blows it as soon as you turn the key on. Now, this system calls for a 15 amp. I'm going to put a 20 amp in it just to show you one more time. And I'm going to turn the ignition switch just to run and watch the fuse. This is what we call a hard blow. Whenever a fuse blows that hard, you can be rest assured you have a hot wire going to ground somewhere in that electrical system. And since this one's just got just a simple charging system and a super simple starting system, let's see what we can find out. Alright, so on this Briggs & Stratton engine, we have two connectors at the engine. We have the charging system here. This is just a single stator charger. It's got the, I think it's got a half a moon stator. It's got one diode here, unregulated. So we're going to unplug the one below it first. And that is the power for the fuel solenoid if your tractor has one. Now let's retest. Alright, so we have the fuel solenoid and the kill wire disconnected on this tractor. And we're going to go here to the key switch. And I've got a low amp fuse in there. I've just got a 5 amp just for testing. And we can tell it doesn't blow. So, from somewhere between that connector inside the motor harness, there's just a wire that goes behind the starter. I've never understood why Briggs wanted to snake that wire in behind that starter, because it could chafe, and the wire just feeds around and goes to the fuel solenoid if you had one. If not, you'd just have a blank connector over there. That's what I've got, is just a blank connector without a fuel solenoid actually hooked up. So what we're going to do, we're going to verify that we have voltage to the plug, and we're going to verify to see if we have downstream of the plug a direct ground issue. For this test procedure, I am going to use the power probe. It is the model number, I can't remember off the top of my head. That's the serial number. I know it's a power probe 3, and it's what we do is we hook it up to the battery, positive to positive, negative to negative, and that's going to turn our power probe on. And this thing has got a long enough cord for you automotive guys that you can do some extensive work all the way to the back of the car. This cord is super long. As you can tell, our battery voltage is 12.5. And if you go straight to ground, it should make the light should turn green. So let's test this. We can test real fast whether the switch is grounded. The light should turn green when you touch it. Alright, we're going to verify that we have 12 volts coming to the plug on the yellow wire, no, excuse me, the brown wire. And we do. From the light up of our gauge, red, And we have 12, oops, I ran over to the wrong one. We have 12.5 volts there. And if you touch the ignition wire, we don't have anything. That's good. So to test the yellow side or the kill side of this circuit, what you would do, you would put your probe on the pin and then turn your key to the off position, and you should be grounded. And we are. Okay, so we're good up to this point. So here is the connector that plugs in the engine. Just check it and make sure it's not, you know, anything wrong with the harness. But I gave you a clue a while ago about how Briggs likes to route that wire behind this starter. Alright, so we're going to take our power probe. We're going to probe each terminal. And we're getting ground on the black wire, and we're getting ground on the hot wire to the solenoid. So somewhere downstream of this is grounded to the engine block or the frame somewhere. Somewhere you have a wire chafed going to ground. So I'm going to manipulate this, try to get this wire out from behind this starter. Oh man, there it goes. Oh my, look at that. Look at that, guys. That starter, or that power wire to that solenoid, is just flat. And the wire is on the back side of this, protruding through this skin of the insulation on that wire, and it is rubbing the engine block, causing me all this headache. I don't understand, and I tell you what, this had to have been this way for a long time. Somebody could have replaced this starter in the past and just didn't get the wire in the right place behind the starter, because there is a little slot back there that it can ride in correctly, especially up a little bit higher. As you can tell, here's the wire that goes to the ignition module for your kill. However, this repair, I'm going to do a little bit of a hack, since I do not have a solenoid anyway. As you can tell right here is the connector to the fuel solenoid. I am going to snip this hot wire at this connector right here. Oh, I can hear the keyboard commandos right now. Oh, more medic! You can't cut the wire. It's gonna make it blow up. Yes, I can. And I'm going to just cut it flush. And we're going to pull that wire on out. If I can. It's stuck behind there pretty good. There we go. And here is a better look at that wire. Guys, you got to pay attention to details when you're working on small engines. Even though that wire looks like it may have been back there for a while, it finally wore through. And this ain't my doing. I've had this tractor for about 6 years, so I know for a fact that I didn't do that. Alright, let's get it plugged back in here. So the only thing that we're going to have power, I mean, we should have no power to this plug now. So all we have is the ground wire to the ignition module. And we tested that and made sure that was working. Alrighty guys, hey listen, we got the right correct fuse in there. I'm going to turn the ignition switch to on. Alright, we don't have a fuse blowing anymore. Let's see if it'll crank over. like a champ. Guys, there is just so much you can do with a power probe. You have the button here, and you can force a ground circuit to go ground, or you can flip it this way and you can force it to go positive. So you can actually introduce power to different things. Say like the solenoid, and you can hit forward on it and add power to the solenoid, and the engine should crank. I'm going to go ahead and start the engine, and I'm going to verify that our charging system is still working. I think what happened was it was mowing. I was mowing when it failed and it wouldn't restart. I was stuck out in the middle of the yard, so I had to push it to the shop to get it fixed. So I'm going to go ahead and get it cranked, and we're going to verify with the power probe that we're getting the correct amount of voltage to the battery. So anytime you do a voltage test for the charging system, you want to be sure you run it at wide open throttle. I always like to let them get warmed up just a little bit before I pour the coal to it. Alrighty, we got that little old Murray Rider figured out, and I'll tell you what, hey, if this content helped you out, got a little dirty, didn't it? If this helped you out, give me a thumbs up and smash that subscribe button, and while you're there, click that bell to get all my new notifications. Y'all have a good rest of your week. More Medic One.